Wake Up with Jim and Saab is now exclusive on Spotify.
If you're thinking of making your own podcast, use Anchor. You can download it free on the App Store and Play Store.
Why did it take so long? I'm tired of talking.
Welcome to the Wake Up with Jim Saab podcast! Oh my goodness, life. Sobrang hirap talaga. Paano ba to? Yes, we've got Paano ba to founder, Bianca Gonzalez in the house.
Hello!
I didn't say na all of your accomplishments kasi sobrang daming hyphens nun. So,
no. Hello! Hi!
Hi!
Saab.
Thank you for gracing our show. Yay!
Thank you for inviting me for the exchange guesting. And as you two being OG podcasters here in the country, I am super, super honored.
Congratulations on the new podcast, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
So they can listen to that on Spotify and other streaming platforms. Congrats, Paano ba to, the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought you would be perfect to guest on our show kasi a lot of our listeners come from my blog readers, and a lot of my blog readers were also your blog readers because I feel like, you were one of the OG bloggers talaga. And
As you were as well.
thank you. So, I wanted to ask your thoughts, like, ano kayang anyari sa blogging?
Such a
What happened?
question.
What do you think happened?
Oh my gosh. I think, wow, I've never thought about it that way. I just always make kwento of how during our time, and I know that you know this, during our time, when you say blogging, it's really an online diary. It's like word
Yes.
vomit of everything you feel,
Yep.
what happened to you that day. And then I think social media happened, which changed the definition of how people present themselves online. Tama ba yun?
Yeah. Yeah, I think blogging was kind of like Twitter but long form and without the stress na parang laging makikita ng lahat ng followers mo yung susulat mo. Kasi you have to actually type in, di ba, Super Bianca,
You have to
diba?
type in
Or
the URL.
Saab,
you're right.
the URL for them to read it. So they would actually want to read your stuff before they read it. So medyo nakaka-stress kasi yung social media because if you kind of know each other and then you follow each other, you're gonna read all of their thoughts. So,
ang question ko is, do you think that long form media is dead?
No, definitely not. Especially with the now rise of audio, of podcasts. Because I guess it comes in phases, right? Before, uso yung may sariling website, di ba? From blog site, parang naging sariling website, and then everything's in there. And then Instagram and Twitter and Facebook made things bite-size. Like, you get it right away. And then the past year plus, have been loving podcasts and reading articles that are 5-10 minutes long to read. Kasi nga, it's a deep dive into something that you want to learn about. As opposed to just like, parang, when you have a book, tas gaganunin mo lang. This is like stopping and to read a page. So sana it's not dead. I hope there will be more like us who consume long form, for sure.
yeah.
I have a question kasi for such a long time, you were a TV host. Di ba ang TV host, like, it's so different from long form media. Like, this podcast, like, di naman pwedeng, di ba, parang walang dead air. I mean, I'm sure you're so primed to, like, di ba?
So
Hindi naman
different
pwede
from the
one
Wake Up
whole-
with Jim and Sab podcast.
Hindi mo pwede one whole hour parang, and here we are! And then,
Do you find yourself trying to, did you find yourself adjusting yung parang kasi diba when you host it's I've never hosted anything in my life, that's why nandito ako. Alam mo yun, parang hindi naman siya kwentuhan technically, it's like diba when you have someone there, it's supposed to be like alright, diba, parang whatever. Did you feel like you had to adjust in ways like as you try different forms of media?
Definitely the language, the energy level, the allowing dead air, allowing repeating what you say when you said it wrong. Parang ganyan. Definitely, there are different ways in which I try to do it. But I don't think I had a hard time. Kasi parang it's also so different as opposed to, for example, hosting as in my spiels. I read a script that was written for me. Parang ganun As opposed to like this, parang siyang radio guesting, di ba? Na parang you just talk based on what comes into your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tama.
So,
And-
sorry. Oh, sige, go ahead.
See, exactly.
Bawal yan, no? Bawal yan sa TV.
Oo naman.
Hindi, kasi we asked some of our pod kids what questions they wanted to ask you. And a big question was, ano talaga itsura ni Kuya? From Big Brother.
That's a huge secret that we will take with us till the day we die. I'll ask you too, based on his voice, what do you think his physical attributes are? And
I think he
I'll
has
see.
long hair.
Long hair?
Is that right? Yeah.
Ikaw, Jim, what do you think? Based on his voice.
Old.
Define old. Ano ka ba?
Parang gets ko yung long hair.
Gets mo?
Hindi ko alam bakit, pero parang nagigets ko yung long hair.
Ewan ko.
As in like whose hair? Long hair.
I don't know. So, parang man bun vibes.
Ako hindi
Hindi,
naman.
di ba?
Ako hindi. Ako it's more of unruly tito vibes.
Grabe. No, he doesn't have long hair. I don't. In the 15 years Kuya has existed, I've never seen him with long hair.
Oh. Okay, well that's I'll take that. I'll take that information. So that narrows it down. No man bun. Okay, got it.
No,
So-
truly tito hair.
Okay, a lot of them also are saying that they are really looking forward to listening to Paano Ba To, the podcast, and they're congratulating you.
Hey, thank you, pod kids.
Yes. And the question here is from Anna. She asks, meron bang book 2 for Paano Ba To?
Wow. It's something a lot of those, I guess, who read the first book ask. Pero for me, I don't know what I can liken this to, no? But the first book kasi, it's like I poured my heart and my soul into it. Talagang binigay ko lahat. And so I feel like if I'm not yet ready to do that again with another one, then it's not worth doing. And as of now, I don't have that. Parang hindi ko pa na-feel the urge to give that much again to another book. And I think that I need to what's the word? Gain credibility to write like a part 2, gain more experience or wisdom to write a part 2.
Gusto kong magkape. Magkapera.
Oh.
Habang may oras, bigyan mo ng oras.
Oh.
Morning person, gising sa madaling araw.
Ay.
Work hard, order harder.
Ay. New Linya Linya shirts are up on www.linyalinya.ph.
And face masks are on sale.
So check it out on www.linyalinya.ph.
Well, I think in terms of wisdom though, that's the reason why, you resonate with so many people. It's because you are, as the children say, woke as fuck.
Woke AF.
So can we talk about that?
Oh my goodness. Batchmate na naman kami ni Saab dyan. Quite a few things, ano? But of course, I'm so much older than you guys. But yeah, batchmate in vlogging, in being, yeah. Twitter, basically. Tama, no? Saab, 2009?
Yeah.
You're 2000.
I think so. Yeah.
I guess my question is I mean, because you live parang kumbaga in the industry, no? Obviously it hasn't been easy for everyone to be as woke AF Bianca, di ba? How do you deal with that, especially if they are your friends? For example, you don't. My point is not for you to name names like is ano talaga. Pero my point ko is like it's not.
So
diba?
parang kumbaga if you, I'm sure you've crossed paths or you work with some people who others may label as problematic, kunwari. How do you deal with that, 'di ba? Parang kasi kaibigan mo sila sa industriya or you know, parang what do you do when they're getting canceled or whatever? Like what do you do? How do you handle that?
That's very interesting. When I have friends who don't share the same as me,
something.
do you
And are very vocal pa about it.
I don't think I have any. Do I? Wait, let me think.
Or kunwari, kahit hindi mo friend, pero I'm sure kinailangan mo i-interview or
Yeah.
you have to
Okay.
work with them.
Several things. In terms of friends who I do not necessarily see, hindi na pwede sa TV. In terms of friends who I don't necessarily share the same views as. In my case, I got this advice years ago, and it was that presidents will come and go, but your friendship is forever. So I've always tried to think of it in that way. It's that if we were friends, let's say 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and just because the climate right now is this, will I throw away that friendship? Or is it important enough for me to just stick with this and then let's see what happens in the next few years? Parang, I don't know if that answer makes sense, no? But kumbaga, that same person who gave me that advice also told me, why would you fight about these politicos? They don't care about you and your friendship. Parang ganun eh. It's difficult when what I found also, this is in terms of like how people have judged friends of mine in terms of ganyan, parang beliefs. I've also found that things are not black and white, that there is something, there's like a gray area, madaming layers of
I agree. Yeah.
complexity na parang it may seem like this, but yung pala behind the scenes may something. I don't know how to explain this well, but
No, I'm getting it. Nagagets ko. Go lang.
of course, I would wish that all of my friends share the same beliefs as I do. But I also know that I have something to learn from them. Why did they see it that way? I wonder why. Okay, if they choose to believe this, then something. Parang, there.
I
That
guess
answered the question. Ang hirap,
Yeah.
ang inawisan ako.
Hindi, actually just to ano lang to guide the discussion. Parang I think it's ano din eh, parang it also kasi it's so easy for people to say na syempre if he voted for that asshole, then that's a reflection of who he is, diba? Parang he's a horrible human being. I do agree. Parang kumbaga I'm guilty of that. Kami ni Saab medyo guilty kami na gano'n. But what you're trying to say nga is, di ba na parang it depends on, parang it's just politics, parang it's not ano, pero I think there's a fine line lang of parang how their values and yours can go so far from each other. Di ba? Parang kasi it's a values thing eh.
For sure.
Ako, gets ko yung sinasabi ni Bianca na may complexity. Kasi nga, I learned recently nga na people go through different journeys nga. So, not necessarily ikaw yung nauuna or sila yung nahuhuli. So, we're all on different paths and hindi mo sila pwedeng i-judge kasi baka naman darating rin sila sa punto na gusto mo ring puntahan. So, you can't just cancel them because maybe they're not done yet and maybe they're still learning, and who's to say that you're also, you know everything na rin, diba? So, and for me, in terms of friendship, I think it's a matter of, gets ko yung sasabi mo na bakit ka makikipag-away kasi nga kung yung kaibigan mo through talking to them and then kumari they're like, hindi, ayaw makinig. Parang, what kind of a friend is that, diba? So, even if iba yung views nila, you guys should be able to talk about it, diba? Hindi naman niya kailangan mag-away. Kung aawayan ka niya, medyo parang, ngek, ba't ganon? So, I agree. I think you can stay friends, but siguro, ride out na nga, parang ilang years na lang. Ilang years na lang, makikita niya rin. Oh.
I also think that a huge factor, even for us, are the people who surround us, the people we regularly listen to, or the people that we follow. Diba sometimes they call it an echo chamber na parang, I'm sure you see this when you open Twitter and there's a big issue and like your whole feed is so mad and then you feel like you're mad. But then when you stop that night, think about it and like, wait lang, saan ba ako sa issue na to? Parang kumakalma ka. And I think that for a lot of people, it's a function also of who they are around, who they follow, the type of conversations that they have about the topic. Mahirap pilitin yung taong decidido na sa side niya. Parang ganon.
Yeah.
And so, like in other things, I feel like sa ganon, choose your battles.
I get.
And
I
ano
get it,
yung
I
there was
agree.
this Netflix movie na sayang, ganda sana ng concept pero ang baduy lang ng execution. Ano yung
What
pangalan?
was that?
Yung the one with Pete Campbell.
Social
Dilemma
yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
I didn't
Have you
watch
seen
that.
that?
No.
So it talks about that yung parang echo chamber and parang society now is basically in chaos because everyone is getting different sources of information, diba? So there are different belief systems. So ang question ko sa'yo is, especially during this time, no, we've been sharing in the podcast na the first few months of quarantine were the worst in terms of our mental health kasi parang you're dealing with an enemy that you can't see. It's a virus. What is this? The world is changing and wala tayong makapitan as a nation. That's how it felt for me and Saab. That's what we kept talking about. Ikaw, and most of our pod kids kept asking like, how do we stay sane and stay informed? Ano yung tingin mo dun? Like how do you find the balance of still being educated and informed but also taking care of yourself? Na parang to not be angry every day, all day.
Yeah.
That's my question too, honestly. I've honestly been looking for a guest for paano ba to talk about that. I interviewed Gege and Directonet about that kasi I feel like they've been able to balance it, yung the fun as well as being woke. Parang ganon. And they said, no, actually, it's something that they struggle with. And one answer that they gave that I love is that that's why they create. Dun ang outlet nila to share how they feel. And of course, the occasional social media breaks because you need it for your sanity.
And ikaw personally, what have you parang did you find yourself finding ano yung parang solace mo when you get to that breaking point of
Oh my gosh.
Do you delete apps or something?
No, I don't delete apps. And as much as I say na I'm gonna give myself a break, I won't check socials today, I still end up doing it. And I guess because my work is also online, so I can't help see it. I guess the break for me is my kids. Maybe it's the same for you guys. It's just that when you
Exactly.
read the news, you feel so helpless and hopeless, and sometimes you get mad. And so when I put my phone down and I play with my kids, it gives me that sense of hope, peace, love. Na parang, oh my gosh, okay, everything is good in the world again, di ba? When you see your young kids.
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice ano. Paano yung mga walang kids? Ano pwede nilang gawin?
That's a tough one. Siguro if I were, kasi I'm trying to go back to when I didn't have kids. Well, also, walang pandemya nun, walang lockdown nun. So that was also a different thing. I guess hobbies. And yun nga,
Yeah.
create. Tonette and Gege were talking about, like Gege had this example about, he wanted to go to the rally in front of ABS-CBN to go with a friend. But he was finishing his deadline on Gaya sa Pelikula, the script that he was writing.
Yeah.
And as much as he wanted to be out there to fight, he knew that parang pupunta ako sa rally to fight for people who lost their jobs, but I need to value my job first as a writer and finish the script and tell the story of my community that I want to share to the world. Parang ganyan. So, yun ang naging, parang I guess, for those without kids. And even for those with kids like us, diba? When you are able to create, to have some sort of output, it makes you feel like you've regained some sort of power. Diba? Parang it makes you feel like,
Yes.
yeah, I was able to come up with this. And so that helps shed away the helplessness, I guess.
Yes. That's
Very
nice.
great
That's nice.
point.
Yeah.
Question, since I am I told you na at a globe party na I'm a fanboy of your husband. Has social media do you think that the bad news and being affected by social media, has it affected your marriage?
Whoa.
No, I mean, does it affect like
That's inappropriate.
it's not, I'm not saying naman na parang is your marriage in trouble because of social media. I'm just saying na nakaka-times ba na kasi
Kaya
masishare
pag
naman
mainit
natin,
yung ulo mo, ganon.
or kunwari, let's say, I don't know. Wala lang. I think it's interesting.
You just want to bring up JC Intal. That's it.
No, definitely. Okay, now that you asked that, there is a scene that I vividly remember from around maybe May last year. Again, going back to what I mentioned earlier, it was the height of the franchise renewal issue. And at that time, talagang every day, tutok kami sa news kasi, there were hearings and all these things. And I remember my husband telling me na parang he would remind me when he felt that I was overwhelmed but couldn't put down my phone. He'll be the one to like, okay, Bianca, put down your phone first. It's okay. Let's eat dinner first or let's stay with the kids first. And that massively, massively helped me. Kasi kung self-control lang, syempre hindi. Because I want to know what's happening. But he was there to keep me grounded and remind me to take a break from all of that.
Wow, that's nice. Oh, so their marriage works. I mean, it helps.
That's the update.
But we do have those moments na, ba't nauna kang i-post yun? Sabi ko, wag mo i-post. Does that happen to you too?
I think, maybe sometimes pag may cute photos of the boys, parang,
Yeah, parang I'll send him a picture of the kids or a video of the kids on WhatsApp kasi cute na cute ako. Thinking that it's our private thing. Like, we won't share it. And then like, I check Instagram later. Oh my God, pinost niya. I posted. Ganyan.
So, I guess, now that you're entering into podcasts, into the podcast space.
Ako nagtanong,
Do you ano, kasi I just want to go back to the long form. Kasi ako, matagal ko na sinasabi kay Saab, like, for a time, I was pretty sad because na-miss ko talaga I really love long form media. Kaya yung when podcasts and, everything, literature, blah, blah, blah. In terms of the podcast space, why is it something that you find, like, you
comforting?
Want to, parang for why building your own show, parang ganon.
Why did I want to do it?
Yeah, parang kasi you have it's on YouTube, and there's a book component na, and why ano lang, parang why?
Well, first,
I am not a professional.
first, I love listening to podcasts talaga, same as you. And I love that now more Pinoys are into it as well, while doing chores or before they sleep and things like that. YouTube kasi is, for me, ideal length of my video would be 7 to 10-ish minutes. 15 is parang mahaba na nga eh. And so, as you both know, when there's a topic or an issue, parang it's nice to just like unpack it talaga. And you can't possibly do that in 7 or 10 minutes, di ba?
Yes.
You definitely need longer time. Plus, on YouTube kasi, I think this is the introvert in me. Parang, whenever I have a topic, it's really the guest that shares their advice. And then parang, I just share a bit. Pumipitik lang ako ng konting advice ko. I'm kind of shy, tama ba yung word, to make things about myself. And because podcasts are just voice, I figured it's also a medium for me to be able to share a bit more of what I think. Kasi nga, I have a bit more time to add to it. So that's what, I guess, the difference of the YouTube channel from the podcast is. The YouTube parang gets like the highlights reel of the conversation with the guest. But on the podcast, I share the more raw conversation. And then at the end, I share a bit of what I think or something I read, a podcast I listened to, and stories. Kasi nga, exactly that. It's long form and we can share more.
I love that. I love that, Bianca. And I'm so excited to listen to Paano Ba To, the podcast. And kasi, I mean, hello, woke AF.
Oh,
No, I would love to hear more of your own thoughts. And I think it's high time na you're able to express it without fear of trolls. Kasi honestly, ang podcast listeners are quality.
Yun pala, tama.
Yeah.
Kasi, ano pala, i-share ko lang. Again, I am in nowhere,
Ka-level kayo, Bianca G.
I'm not,
Oy,
I am in no way super.
Newbie on this platform, you're the OG, so I have to learn from you.
Okay, so again, I'm not saying, I'm not super, or I'm not whatever. I'm just Jim. Anyway.
Hashtag just Jim.
Ang ano ko is...
Hey, that's a catchy hashtag. Hashtag just Jim.
Ang point ko is, kukwento ko lang rin para lang maano ka sa kaya love namin tong podcast is yung parang when Saab and I started dating, she invited me one time to, like, she was doing these random live streams. Ano yung gamit ng website nun?
Blog TV.
Or something, yun, Blog TV. So I was there, and then biglang agad-agad may nag-comment, sino yan? Sino yung baklang yan? Yun yan. And parang, like, I was like, oh my God, I have never experienced this much, So, and then, so anyways, so when we did the podcast, tama si Saab na it's parang, of course, yung mga troll. Kaya kami, we're very open, and like we openly talk about like how, the Harrys and the dolphins of the world. Parang we do that because we know the people who are listening want to listen, because the people who are listening will listen to 50 minutes of you talking.
Yeah.
Diba? So it's not like, oh, Bianca just posted on Instagram a 15-second thing. Let's criticize it to death and let's crucify her or di ba,
Yeah,
parang-
let's judge her character based on this one tweet.
Yeah. So last question siguro before we go.
So I'm excited for you. We're excited for
Yes.
you.
Yay,
Dealing
thank you. And thank you for guesting me on your podcast. So I hope your podcast...
Sorry, may tanong pa ata siya.
Yeah. Yes, I think you do. Go lang.
Dealing with trolls. Ano yung advice mo? Because I think lots of our pod kids, they don't necessarily have the same amount of pack you, diba? They don't have that. But I guess it's dealing with criticism, especially if you put yourself out there, and everyone now puts themselves out there. What would be your advice, and like what parang lessons
Paano
have
ba
you?
to?
Oh, paano ba?
I think you said it in your question, which is something I like sharing in when I have like give talks on social media. I always say that just because uso, let's say yung house tour or a day in the life or get ready with me, just because that's uso doesn't mean you have to do it when you're on social. Only you can draw the line of how public you want to be on social media. And so having said that, know that whatever you put out there is open to free for all, diba? Anything can say anyone about whatever you put out there. So I think it's important that you as a person, or even actually married couples, you as a couple are clear on what you will keep private versus what you will make public. And yeah, the trolls are when you put something out there, it, like I said, it's free for all and you have no control over what people will say about you. So, also, parang iba-iba tayo ng threshold, di ba? Some people block, some people delete. Me, personally, I don't block and delete. I like reading the negative comments also kasi sometimes parang nakakababa sa lupa. I don't know if that makes sense. Yung parang feeling mo, okay, nagawa ko to. Parang when you read a bad comment, it's like, okay. Parang it keeps my feet on the ground. Yun ang tingin ko. But also, it's not like I love reading the negative comments. Diba? Syempre, nakaka-hurt talaga sila. Yun, iba-iba tayo ng threshold. You can block and delete if you want. You can also just leave it there if you want. Sometimes some comments are constructive and we can tell naman, di ba, which ones are constructive and which ones are just like pure hate. But something I like to remind myself na I read lang din on mga Instagram quotes is that when something says something about you, that is more a reflection of them than it is of you.
I agree. Yeah.
That has
That's a
helped
good
me quite
reminder.
a lot.
Yes, that's a good reminder.
So nice.
Well, that's a nice way to end this episode. Thank you so much, Bianca G, Super Bianca. Sobrang peg. Okay, thanks. Thanks
you,
again for
Bianca.
guesting.
Thank you, Jim and Saab. Super thank you. Thank you,
And we hope to
Content.
catch up again soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about dolphins next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.